This whole business about deterring our government from attacking Syria did show that the people, when they're aroused, can deter the government from undertaking a terrible action. So ultimately the people can counter the government or avoid some evils. And I just wonder how ultimately we can. Now, I was listening to Elias Davidson the other day being interviewed by Fetzer. It was a terrible interview because Fetzer was taking him down this track that had nothing to do with Elias Davidson's book.
Let me point out something here about, my Qui-Tam case. There was nothing wrong with my Qui-Tam case. The judges who dismissed it even wrote in a footnote when they dismissed it that they acknowledged that the law applied in my case, but they're ignoring the law in order to dismiss the case. And they got to do that because nobody cared. If people had cared, I think we would have had a different outcome. And then what you're saying about people standing up against Syria, that influences.
It shows it can be done, but our problem is how to get there on 9/11.
That's why we have this truth movement that keeps people from standing behind this.
Agreed. It's amazing what a minority we are. It's amazing.
Yeah, why is that? Why is, people out there need to stop and think what their objective is.
Hey, it's been great, Dr. Judy Wood. I hope this show is important in spreading the word and clarifying why these critics are all wrong. They don't fight fair. And people, get the book if you haven't. WhereDidTheTowersGo.com and learn and then educate others. You have listened to The Reynolds Reveal, another good show, way better than normal even, good as my shows are. So come on back. I've got another good show lined up for next week. Thank you so much, Dr. Wood.
Thanks for having me.
We would, let's go ahead for courtesy purposes. We have a caller on the line. Caller, are you still there? Caller, are you still there?
Yep, it's Rhonda.
Hi, Rhonda. How are you? You're live with Dr. Reynolds and Dr. Judy Wood.
Hello, Rhonda.
Hi to you both. We're off the stream now, are we, or still on?
We are always on the stream. Go ahead, Rhonda.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you again to Dr. Wood for all the work that she does.
Well, thank you so much.
And I
get beat on so much, and thanks for offsetting that. Just that one little bit was just so wonderful.
And I just, since I've discovered your work, I kind of go up every 9/11 and fight with people, it seems. And this year, I actually had 3 or 4 people comment that they had read your book, and one person actually had purchased 5 books and distributed them among his friends. So
wow.
This was the first year I felt really encouraged that your story is, or your work is getting out there and getting the respect that it deserves.
Well, that's great. I've sensed that because the opposition, the obsessive opposition, has been cranking up the notches. They're feeling more threatened, is what I've read from how things are going, the atmosphere.
Hey, Rhonda, you're a brave person. You're a brave person to take on some of your friends and acquaintances. What's the general attitude about 9/11? Do they embrace the government story or what? Some other version? What is it?
Every year it's less and less. Generally speaking, I would say no. People don't want to talk about it anymore. They don't want to see it. They don't want to think about it. They just want to push it aside and pretend it didn't happen. less and less am I finding that people are willing to take the time out to argue about it even, or to defend their opinion of it.
Is it okay if I interject, Dr. Judy Wood?
Sure,
sure.
You
and I have had these discussions before. I've learned a lot about the psy-op, Rhonda. And I'll tell you what, I've been right in the thick of things, and I discovered that even the military manuals on how to affect a psy-op on a population, the objective is to create an argument and a fatigue, and it's a less than lethal, option to take over a population. And that's the desired effect. They've actually created so many opposing arguments. If they can get us all arguing about it and accomplish absolutely nothing, they've achieved their goals. And for us to relent and to not demand answers to these questions is allowing them to just win the battle. We need to keep fighting on, not get fatigued, and always go for the truth and expose the evidence, I believe.
Yes,
That's
thanks.
a good point.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And it's like, so many theories. I guess we'll never know what really happened. And the one that really gets me is like, it's 2 + 3 is 5. Judy Wood has this theory, and then somebody else has this theory that 2 + 3 = 6. Somebody else has this theory that 2 + 3 is 7. Guess we'll never know what 2 + 3 is. Might as well throw our hands up and leave it. No, wait, 2 + 3 is 5. Look at the evidence. Add it. And you can get to the answer. You don't need somebody else to tell you how to sum up those numbers. You just need to be able to look at the evidence. It's not about a theory. It's about evidence.
And as long as they throw a number of different stories into the mix, then the people who are actually taking time out to learn the truth get so confused that they can be taken down these rabbit holes, like all these last things that have happened, Sandy Hook and Boston Marathon and everything. There's so many different ways that you can approach these situations.
That's a great example. That's a great example because look at how many times they get us arguing.
There's truth, and there's a little bit of disinfo and a little bit of misinfo, and there's enough in there to confuse enough people and just wear them out.
That's right.
Yep.
They just get worn
out. Say about Sandy
Hook,
what do I know that I know that I know? Nothing. All right, done.
Yeah.
Walk off. I can't solve it. So why argue about opinions of speculation, of hearsay, of theories, of assumptions, of ideas, of who knows what?
Hey, but on the other hand, I think it's valid to say the credibility of the government and their official stories is just taking hit after hit. The NSA thing is great. So people can say, wait a minute, 9/11, there's some funny stuff. I don't feel right about that. Mm-hmm. So I think it's headed our way, in terms of who's going to win this thing longer run.
Yes, as long as people don't lose their thinking before the end of the road. But with regard to how to approach others, say when they don't know who to believe or what to believe. Believe yourself. Don't believe me. Believe yourself. Believe the evidence. Look at the evidence and think for yourself. And that's the only way out of this. Because how did we get into this fix to begin with? Because we turned our thinking over to someone else's keeping. We need to take it back in our own keeping.
There's a TV ad by Charles Schwab with him as a spokesperson. And he says, people take control of their lives in every other aspect.
Lost him.
Dr. Reynolds, are you still there? Okay, we will, I think, reconnect with him as we're reconnecting. It is reconnecting. Rhonda, can I offer something to you? Dr. Judy Wood taught myself and all those that have come into contact with her through our network and through our show. You know what she taught me? It's been the most valuable tool that I use to free my mind from it all. She taught us to turn the volume down when we look at an incident.
Turn the volume off and look.
Turn the volume off and look at it, and you can never be deceived by yourself. Your own eyes will look right at the evidence and at the truth. And then, when you turn it back up, you'll notice that people will want to tell you what you're seeing. And that's the worst thing that you could do is to be told what you're seeing right in front of you. No one can ever tell me now, as I look at those images of the towers turning to dust in midair, seeing steel disintegrate just about, right? That molecular dissociation. No one can ever tell me that what I saw was not towers turning to dust in midair. And all the evidence, they can't tell me what I saw or what I didn't see. I know for myself.
Yeah, stick some earplugs in.
Yep. Okay, we'll go. It looks like Dr. Reynolds is off and running. We lost his connection, but Rhonda, thank you very much for calling in. It was a great segment.
Yes.
I've actually recorded this.
Thank you very much for calling.
Yes, and we're going to add this to the episode.
You.
It was a great, thoughtful call, and I think everyone can benefit.
Something else I'd like to add too, if I can, to thank all of the listeners out there, the supportive listeners. And earlier when I was talking about how Fetzer and Gage and so forth only go after me and they don't destroy each other, and they promote rabies from outer space, all sorts of nonsense. I'd like to thank those who support my work and support the truth. I'd like to thank them for not doing that. No, they don't promote, fairy dust from outer space or, whatever nonsense, because they're interested in the truth. And they need to be commended for that. And I'd really like to thank them from the bottom of my heart.
And Dr. Judy, I'm sure I can speak for a lot of people that have read your textbook, that have seen your evidence. And, I want to personally, I'm coming up on my 1-year anniversary when I was exposed to your name. When I heard it from Jesse Ventura, in fact. It was November 9th, I think. November 9th of last year. I want to thank you for changing my life and changing the way I look at the world. I mean, you have literally impacted my life, and I'm sure that applies to a lot of other people. And I want to thank you for your courage and for everything you're doing in service of our country. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. And thanks for being one of those folks out there.
Yeah, one of those folks that will never forget the emotion and the passion that I had when 9/11 happened. We all did. We had a lot of emotion. We spent $1 trillion expressing ourselves to go kill brown people in the desert. We need to remember those feelings and never relent, never give up trying to seek the truth, right? So thank you very much for your courage and your persistence.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, folks. That concludes this episode of the Reynolds Reveal. Certainly one for the history books. Thank you very much for listening, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to sign off. Thank you, Rhonda.
Thank you, Pete.
All right, bye-bye. Wow, what a great 9/11 episode. Absolutely, positively. Thank you very much, Dr. Judy. Great episode.